Everybody, Gil here, coming to you from a different location today, from the foothills of the Smoky Mountains, in a little tiny cabin on a back porch, looking out at the beautiful woods, somewhere between Dawsonville and Dahlonega, Georgia. So this week is special for Deb and I. We celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary, and Deb found this amazing place to come to. You know, we were talking about doing a trip and going on a vacation, and with some of the unrest in Europe, we weren't sure about going there. We typically do beach, water vacations, right? You know, sailors, that's kind of our thing. And Deb was wanting to do something different. She found this place absolutely amazing. And I forgot how nice it is on sort of a cool morning. Come out with a cup of coffee, just sit outside in a little bit of, I won't say brisk air because we're still in the South, but brisker than what we see in Southwest Florida, not humid. Just relax and listen to the songbirds and look out into the woods. Well, as you probably suspect, Deb and I are, photogs, right? We'll have our cameras with us. So as we go do a few things around town, we'll probably have our cameras with us. We'll take a few pictures and be able to share them with you. And I'd love to share a little bit about this place. Gosh, it's really pretty neat. It's called Forrest Hills Resort. Forrest with two R's, F-O-R-R-E-S-T. A little family-owned place, and it's kind of an interesting story. They bought this land many years ago and started building these little cabins on it to rent out. And they do group things here, right? They do weddings, and they have a little chapel. But you can tell it's for couples, right? Like, that's what this is really for. We have this beautiful little cabin, nice back porch swing you can see here. I'm sitting out on the back patio. You can drive right up to it in the front, little paved road, but they have them all situated on the property where you really don't see your neighbors much. I mean, I can see the cabin next to me if someone were there through the woods, but that's it. Everything else, I'll show you the view from here, is just remote, and I can see the base of the Smoky Mountains right out there. But these little cabins are kind of cool. Little kitchenette, dining room, living room, fireplace, big master bedroom, and an enclosed hot tub right in the cabin itself. It's kind of a set of French doors right off of the master bedroom, and you step out onto like a wooden deck, but it's all enclosed with windows and blinds around it, and you have your own hot tub. Really, really a cool sort of setup. Yeah, they take care of it too. It's rustic. Like, that's what I like about it. It's got all the things you need. Heck, we got Wi-Fi and everything else inside, satellite TV, but we also have this view of nothing, the quietness. Our cell signal, almost non-existent, which is perfect. Perfect. As I sit out here in the quiet, it's kind of neat, all the different sounds you hear. I can hear a crow way off in the distance. I can hear a bunch of different songbirds chirping. I can hear a few distant woodpeckers tapping on wood. Every once in a while, I'll hear the leaves rustle around and start scouring the ground out there to see if I can see what it is. Most of the time, it's just been squirrels. We've seen a few groundhogs, which was really interesting. We saw one yesterday, and it was on the side of the road, and it kind of stood up on its hind legs and was just staring at something, right? It was the neatest looking thing. Of course, by the time we pulled the camera out, he got out on all fours and ran down the side of the embankment of the road.
So join us as we drive into Forest Hills. From the little country road, you turn into the resort. Forgive this, I'm doing it at 2x the speed. But you pull in and go up a little hill. Down on the left are the stables and an outdoor pool. And as you move forward, there's the office where you check in. Since we're already checked in, we just bypass the office. And there's a lot of little roads throughout this property. We're going to turn right up here and go past where they do breakfasts and receptions and meals for larger groups. Obviously, we're not a larger group. So as we continue down here, we pass a few of the small little motel rooms versus cabins. And then you can see these little signs on the side of the road. These are each cabins kind of tucked away in the woods where you pull up to the front of them. In the back is a beautiful view. As you go through a couple of stone walled gates, I think there's probably the owners probably live on the property. Maybe there's a few private residents, but we went all the way to the very end of this particular place. On the right here is the chapel. And I'll just fast forward to right here as we're pulling up to our cabin, which is sort of the last one as you pulled in. And it was just beautiful sitting out over this ledge. This is one of the little cabins they called Cupid's cabin. And when you go in the front door, it had a little kitchenette to the right here, a nice little table set up for two, Lovely gas fireplace, just turn the timer on and away it goes. And just look out the views out the back window and patio there. It's just beautiful, and we'll show that a little bit more here in a moment. But from the living room, there was sort of an open area. I don't know if it was maybe a dining room at some point, and not a big kitchen, but plenty to do what you need to do. As you walk through here, there's some French doors that go into the master bedroom. You can see my lovely bride is unpacking and getting things ready. One of the most comfortable beds I've ever slept on. It was absolutely phenomenal. But right across from the bed was these French doors where you open it up and go right outside, and there's a beautiful hot tub kind of enclosed right inside the cabin. You see the windows, you can look out, you can close the blinds if you want privacy, but then again, it's pretty private unless somebody happens to be hiking up next to your cabin, which would be unusual, I would think. There was something really nice about being able to just go straight from the bedroom into the hot tub and just relax there. As you go back out toward the living room and go to this back patio, again, a double set of doors, open these up, and we had our own private patio. And you can see that cabin to the right of us. That's the only cabin we could see. Similar layout, so the only way they would even be able to see you on this patio is if they happen to look out the master bedroom window of that cabin. But look at that view, just of the mountains out behind us there. Just absolutely gorgeous. Nice porch swing out there, a couple of chairs and a table. I really enjoyed sitting there having my cups of coffee in the morning and then even in the evening just sitting outside with a glass of wine. It was absolutely lovely. So you can see these cabins are really well maintained. I'm sure they have more than one of these Cupid's cabins, but boy, we sure did like it, and it was a beautiful little retreat for the two of us in this room and cabin.
We'll do some hiking. There's Amicalola Falls are nearby, the town of Dahlonega, Georgia. It has this unofficial name of the Hallmark movie capital. It's where all these Hallmark Christmas movies end up getting filmed, because at Christmas time it's supposed to be beautiful. Horse-drawn carriages around the lit-up square, and just really pretty. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this nice, relaxing week.
So we took a nice drive into downtown Dahlonega, and you can see the what used to be the courthouse, which is now a gold museum. Interestingly enough, Georgia was part of the original gold rush in the U.S. prior to out west. Lovely little visitor center and public restrooms. Really nicely set up for pedestrians as you walk through. And here's the back of this gold museum, or the old courthouse building. You can kind of see it from the other side as we walked all the way around the square. Tons of little restaurants and shops and ice cream places and fudge stores, and just really neat little touristy place. And you can see just how lovely the town looks by some of the images here. Again, this was a restaurant up on the second floor right there. You can see little unique shops all along, kids' games shops, and just really, really neat stuff in here. We loved it. And you can kind of see as you go from the back of the courthouse across to the other side. Again, restaurants up on the second floor at sidewalk level. We went into a couple of little shops. Like this was kind of a cool little hippie shop, a little Grateful Dead wall and the smell of patchouli oil. It was definitely a cool place to go visit for sure. Deb and I had a good time. We just walked around in some of the shops, killing some time and, holding hands and strolling down the streets. So after our little shopping excursion in downtown historic Dahlonega, Deb and I stopped and grabbed food at a little place called Spirit's Pub or Bar and Grill. Phenomenal burgers there. But we decided to take a drive out to Amicalola State Park. What's really interesting about Amicalola State Park is, one, the falls. So Amicalola Falls are there. I'll show you some video of that. But it's also the either start or end, depending on which direction you're traveling, of the Appalachian Trail. So for those that don't know, the Appalachian Trail is still available for hikers to hike. It goes through 14 states, starting in Georgia, ending in Maine. It's 2,190 miles, and there's over 3 million visitors per year that walk this trail. What's interesting is as soon as we got back from this trip, my neighbor told me that he was about to start it. He started that on about the 15th or so of April, and he was back home in May. And he had already done 700 miles. He flew home for a long weekend. I think it was over Memorial or Labor Day, whichever it was, Memorial Day. And then he went back and he's hiking it again. So really, really cool. You do it with a backpack, and it's a bit of solitude. And what a cool experience for somebody who's into hiking. 2,190 miles walking across 14 states. Deb and I started by driving to the top of the falls. Now, what's interesting is this is 729 feet of waterfall, and you can just see these vistas and look how beautiful that is. Now, looking down, it's just on a little wooden deck that goes over it. Not a raging river. I was surprised at how little water there is. Now from down below, with the zoom on the camera, you can see that little platform we were standing, and it's this beautiful cascading waterfall. It reminds me a lot of something that we've seen like in Hawaii or something more tropical. This video was taken in April. The trees weren't completely filled in. We were back there again in June. It was a little harder to see. You can even see the deck that goes across it there where that was like an observation area. And then just even as the very bottom of where the water kind of goes into a little reflecting pool near the parking lot, just gorgeous, gorgeous views.
Deb and I are getting to spend a little bit of time together with just the two of us. And it's been really nice so far. There's a comfort in 30 years of marriage, right? There's no pressure. It's let's just sit and relax and have a cup of coffee on the patio. And Deb's actually sitting there reading a book right now. It's just nice. No other way to say it. Nice. I can remember 30 years ago during the wedding day, I used to joke around with people and say, you couldn't have smacked the smile off my face. And heck, it's the same today for different reasons, right? But it's comfort and warmth and all those things that happen after you've been with somebody for a really, really long time. It's awesome.
Well, on the actual day of our anniversary, we made our way down to the barn and the stalls. We decided to leave a little inscription on the wall here, and Deb and I had scheduled ourselves a lovely little horse-drawn carriage ride. The two ranch hands that were running it kind of loaded us up and took us from the Corral just down a couple of the little streets right near the resort. Probably spent about an hour out. It was absolutely beautiful. That evening, we went ahead and had dinner in what they call the Hideaway dining room. It's the adults only, no families or kids kind of thing dining room with lovely views. We sat right there along the windows, looking out, had a wonderful dinner, a couple of nice drinks, beautiful wood-burning fireplace right there, wood-burning stove. They didn't actually need it running this day, but you can see just how, rustic and nice this place was. Like no other way to describe it. It was beautiful. Well, the next day we decided to drive out toward the highest point in Georgia, which we'll show in a few minutes in the video. But while we were driving out there, we looked over and saw this little sign that said Helton Creek Falls. We're like, oh, that looks interesting. And we started driving down this road, and then the pavement ended, and it started getting, a little bit crunchy on the dirt road for the little car we had. And then as we continued to drive on this road, it was really interesting. We actually started to hear water running near us, so it was down below the hill, and we ran into this. The road actually just crosses the creek 2 different times, actually. So we weren't real sure if we should take it through, but it definitely, you can tell, it was the road and it wasn't washed out. This looks like it's part of the regular road. As we drove down here, though, we looked over and we saw this amazing waterfall just on the side of this dirt road. From Helton Creek Falls, we continued to an area known as Brasstown Bulb. It's the highest point in all of Georgia. Now, the actual observation tower was closed when we got there, but as we got very close to the parking lot, to the park up top, you could just see these amazing vistas and views. I just shocked at how gorgeous it was. Had it been a clear day, these would have been even more amazing. Once up at the top, Deb took a little walk over by some trails where there were signs to be cautious of bears, and you can just see this lookout. Amazing how it was. And I just took my camera and I panned around a little bit here just to give you a sense of the distance you can see. And even when we zoom in, what I thought were originally clouds actually are more mountains off in the distance. It really, really was stunning. And this was in every direction. The observation deck would have been great to see because it would have been a full 360 degrees. And we took a little bit of a time lapse here just off of this vista.